All right, welcome back, everybody. It is our voting session for Friday, February 23rd, 2024. First bill was HB 7. Delegate Stewart, I'm going to hold this for another week. We will go to HB 234, or Vice Chair Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Kristen. Subcommittee recommendation is favorable. The bill is a departmental bill that makes various changes to several programs within the Maryland Department of Agriculture. Specifically, the bill 1 alters and establishes license renewal and reinstatement requirements for horse establishments, including authorizing the Maryland Horse Industry Board to establish late and reinstatement fees. 2, establishes administrative penalties for beekeepers who fail to register with MDE or provide movable frames for a bee colony in a timely manner. 3, alters the administrative penalty structure for failure to file a nutrient management plan summary report and annual implementation report. Alters the renewal process for the registration of weights and measures. And 5, repeals the existing statutory fee structure for the registration of weights and measures, and instead requires the Secretary of Agriculture to set reasonable fees at a level to produce funds to approximate the cost of registering each weight and measure used for commercial purposes. Move the bill.
Second.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion of the bill? Delegate Ciliberti.
Yeah, I have a question, period. I got in tail under. We're on 0007.
No, we're on 234, sir.
Okay, I'm glad I asked.
We're holding 007.
So,
Any discussion on the bill? So just a reminder, this is when we discuss the bill, debate the bill, argue the bill, and not while we're voting, okay? All right.
how much revenue is this rate?
Delegate Otto, do you have a question? Sorry. Go ahead.
How much revenue does this raise?
Which revenue?
This is a fee bill.
So the bill just repeals so there's a couple of things that this bill does. When it comes to the bee, what they're trying to do is get people to essentially register their beehives and be able to know where the location of colonies are. So there's a fee if you don't register, but there is no fee to register, for instance.
Okay.
And then the weights and measures, just a repealing of those fees so that the Department of Agriculture can set those fees so they can appropriately fund that particular program, because now that they have to also include like EV stations. They have individuals, but over the years, because in general fees have not been increased, they haven't been able to, as I understand it, appropriately even inspect just gasoline stations. So I don't know that specific number, but whatever that number it is, it's going to be enhanced so that they can have more inspectors to now do more of the weights and measure inspections that they have to do.
Thank you.
And Delegate Otto, the fiscal note estimates a minimum of 700 grand a year.
Not a lot of money.
But a lot of it's unknown for all the reasons the Vice Chair
Right.
just explained. Okay, HB 234, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone wish to be opposed? Delegate Otto is opposed. Delegate Ciliberti is opposed. Delegate Naraki is opposed. Delegate Baker is opposed. It's 4 in opposition. Bill passes. A lot to a little. I think that's 18-4. 17-4, excuse me. All right, House Bill 234 passes. House Bill 366, Delegate Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 366 received a favorable recommendation from the Land Use and Ethics Subcommittee. And I'm just going to go off script here with apologies to Ben and just explain what this bill does in my own terms. So we passed this bill last year as a committee. There is, in current law, there is a restriction on community associations that says they cannot put unreasonable restrictions on homeowners when they want to put a solar panel on their roof. And an unreasonable restriction is one that, quote unquote, under current law, significantly increases the cost of the solar panel system, or current law significantly decreases the efficiency of the solar panel system. That's current law. This has proven to be untenable for all parties, both homeowners who want solar panels on their roof and community associations who want to stop homeowners from putting solar panels on their roof hate current law because no one knows what significantly means. So there's all this litigation between the homeowners and the community association trying to figure out what the word significantly means. So what this bill is a kumbaya moment from people who love solar panels and people who hate solar panels to put actual numbers in the law. And now it said, now what we're going to do with this bill is we're going to say that if a restriction increases the cost by 5%, it's unreasonable. And if it increases or decreases the efficiency by 10% or more, then it's unreasonable. That gives a standard for all parties who want to fight this out to live with. That's why there was no unfavorable testimony. That's why we gave it a favorable recommendation in subcommittee. I move it.
Bill's moved in second. Any discussion on House Bill 366? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anyone need to be recorded in the negative? Jacobs, Otto, Ciliberti, Morgan. 17-4, Delegate Ciliberti. Bill passes. House Bill 379, Vice Chair Boyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments. As amended, this bill prohibits a person from allowing for the performance of a covered animal in a traveling animal act. Subcommittee amendment. The amendment removes the Department of Natural Resources from the list of entities that may enforce the bill. Move the amendment.
Second.
Amendments been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Madam Vice Chair.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to allow the sponsor of the bill to speak really quick because there is another amendment.
Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You all may recall, thanks to Delegate Foley, a discussion about clouded leopards. And I understand Delegate Allen also had that question. The bill passed the Senate EEE committee today with an amendment that would give some protection to the clouded leopards. So the advocates for the bill did some deeper digging and found some recent regs that the federal government has established that would cover clouded leopards. So my amendment to make everything cleaner is to strike the exception for clouded leopards. Move the amendment, Madam. Thank you.
Any discussion on the amendment? Everyone okay? It's like an oral amendment, so. Okay, all in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Amendment passes. Madam Vice Chair.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Bill's moved in second. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of House Bill 379, please signify by saying aye. Does anyone wish to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Otto, Delegate Ciliberti, Delegate Baker. 18-3. 1 second, Delegate. 18-3, Delegate Ciliberti. Bill passes. Who would like to be added as a co-sponsor? Please raise your hand and I will read. Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Allen, Delegate Ziegler, Delegate Foley, Delegate Guyton, Delegate Lehman, Delegate Stewart, and Speaker Pro Tem. Read it.
Sure. Delegate Ruth, Terrassa, Stein, Stewart, Lehman, Guyton, Foley, and Ziegler.
Allen.
Oh, Alan, I didn't have you circled. I'm sorry.
Okay. Moving on to House Bill 437, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 437 came out of subcommittee favorable with amendments. As amended, HB 437 alters the composition of the Maryland Zero Emission Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Council, or otherwise known as ZEVIC, to add a representative of the Department of General Services, a representative of a heavy-duty plug-in electric drive vehicle manufacturer, an additional representative of the environmental community, and a representative of an automotive dismantler and recycler. It also codifies ZEVIC. Move the amendments.
Second.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed to the amendments? Okay.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
The bill has been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Delegate Love, this bill still does what the sponsor wanted it to do, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of HB 437, please signify by saying aye. Anyone wish to be recorded in the negative? Okay. Bill passes 21-0, Delegate Celebrity. This has an amendment. Does anyone want to be a co-sponsor? Okay. HB 450. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys' hands were coming up with Love and Layman. And Delegate Ruth. Delegate Ruth. Layman and Love. All right, HB 457, Delegate Stein.
Defer to Delegate Foley.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Chair. HB 457, as amended, requires the Maryland Department of Environment to establish a system to track the chain of custody of synthetic turf installed on sports and playing fields in the state by January 1, 2025, or within 30 days after the completion of the installation, whichever is later. The custodian of a synthetic turf sports or playing field installed in the state must report the specified chain of custody information to the Maryland Department of the Environment. Amendment number 1 makes technical changes to the purpose paragraph. Amendment number 2 requires a producer or seller of synthetic turf to disclose to a customer certain maintenance and cost information and certain reporting requirements. Move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Terrassa.
I just wanted to know if the sponsor was familiar with the amendments and had any input.
Yes, on the turf that I presented.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I believe it was just the sponsor amendments, correct? Delegate
It was
Foley?
a sponsor amendment, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, great,
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
terrific. Great, all in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, amendments carry.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on this bill? We can only hope. HB 457, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Does anyone want to be recorded in the negative? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Ciliberti, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Morgan, and Delegate Baker. 16 to 21. 16 to 5. Bill passes. This was amended. So does anyone want to be a co-sponsor? Please hold your hands up high. Delegate Love, Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Long, Delegate Addison, Delegate Ziegler, Delegate Foley, Delegate Guyton, Delegate Davis, Delegate Stewart.
I have Delegate Long, Ruth, Terrassa, Love, Stewart, Davis, Guyton, Foley, Ziegler, and Addison.
Everybody good? Okay, moving on to HB 497, Madam Vice Chair.
Mr. Chair, subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments as amended. HB 497, excuse me, the bill summary is HB 497 increases the fee for a non-resident Sika deer stamp for non-residents from actually $25 to $100. Subcommittee amendment alters the increase for the stamp from $100 to $200. Move the committee amendment.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. All in favor of any discussion on the amendments, Delegate Allen?
Chair, Madam Vice Chair, I just want to clarify the amendment that the subcommittee attached was bringing in line with the Senate version of this bill. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Delegate Jacobs.
I know it came out of subcommittee with the Senate amendment on there, but we've had some discussions and some of the members, and we just think that I'd rather see it in the original form of 100. I think there's a lot of families that live nearby in Delaware and other counties that are going to be affected by this huge increase from $10 to $200. And you know,
25.
I know that the state wants to eradicate these Sika deer, and I don't think putting $200 out of state stamp on there is going to help eradicate. So I'm going to vote no if it stays as it is now with the $200 amendment.
Well, Ms. Delegate, we we supported it in subcommittee, and I definitely hear you. I think the argument has been made not only by individuals from the sponsor and the hunting community, is that we essentially give away in costs the opportunity for folks to come into our state and hunt. And while, yes, we do have a bit of a deer management issue, they're guests, they're not our residents. And so the fact that comparatively across within the region, that this fee is actually abysmal considering what other people charge for others to come into their state and hunt is somewhat ridiculous. And so $25, if they want to hunt, I think people who want to hunt will hunt. And if $200 deters them, I don't think it will. I'm happy to be wrong, but I don't think $200 or even $100 is going to deter them. People who hunt, they have the money to hunt. This is what they do. But we are essentially making it very inexpensive and on the same on par with people who live here to essentially have the same fee to hunt in Maryland than outside of Maryland.
Message received.
Delegate Davis on the amendments.
I would just like to add that it passed 10-1 in the Senate.
Yeah, in the committee. Yeah.
Delegate Ciliberti.
Instead of 200, why don't we just go to 500? Guys, just want the deer hunters want to hunt. So moved. So moved. I remove that.
Any further discussion? Okay, on the amendments, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who wants to be recorded in opposition to the amendments? Delegate Jacobs, Delegate Otto, Delegate Naraki, Delegate Baker. On the amendments. Really?
No.
Oh, live and learn.
Move the bills amended.
I said it out loud, so the bill has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the bill? All in favor of the bill as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Please raise your hand if you want to be recorded in the negative. I think she's fine. Sorry, Delegate Jacobs is a no. Delegate Otto is a no. Please raise your hand if you're a no. Delegate Ciliberti is a no. Delegate Naraki and Delegate Baker. Bill passes, Delegate Ciliberti. There was an amendment on that, so does anyone want to be added as a co-sponsor? I see Delegate Ruth, Delegate Lehman, Delegate or Vice Chair Boyce. Boyce, Lehman, and Ruth.
Boyce, Lehman, and Ruth.
Terrific. HB 552, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 552 came out of the subcommittee favorable, no amendments. HB 552 requires that citations and notices issued as a result of automated enforcement under the Maryland vehicle law be sent to the current mailing address on file with the MVA or the current residential address on file with MVA if a mailing address is not available. Move the bill.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of HB 561, please, or excuse me, 552, please signify by saying aye. Anyone want to be recorded in the negative? Okay, Delegate Ciliberti. $20 to 1, Delegate Ciliberti. Bill passes. HB 561, Vice Chair Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Subcommittee recommendation is favorable with amendments. As amended, HB 561 removes a statutory limit on fees applicable to licensed tree experts, subject to explicit caps on the amounts of the certain fees. In addition, the bill authorizes DNR to temporarily revoke or temporarily suspend a tree expert license if the license holder fails to maintain liability, property, or workers' compensation insurance as required by law. Subcommittee amendment number 1 establishes caps on the examination, initial license, and renewal fees for licensed tree experts. Amendment number 2 alters the insurance provision to account for sole proprietors. Move the amendments.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendments? Delegate Jacobs.
On the bill. And this is the time you want me to say something, right? During the discussion.
I mean, you could say now we also have a discussion period on the bill if you want to wait a second. So we adopt the
No,
amendments.
I'll wait.
Okay. Any discussion on the amendments? All in favor of the amendments, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed to the amendments? No, amendments pass.
Bills amended.
Bill's moving second. Any discussion? Delegate Jacobs.
All right now. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the industry supported the bill. Is that correct? Thank you. That's it.
You got us all excited, Delegate Jacobs. All right, the bill's moving second. Any further discussion? All in favor of HB 561, please signify by saying aye. Anyone need to be recorded in opposition? Delegate Baker, Delegate Naraki. Baker and Naraki in opposition. Bill passes. I believe that's 19-2. And does anyone want to be added as a co-sponsor because it had an amendment? No, nobody. Unusual. HB 562, Madam Vice Chair.
Chair, subcommittee recommendation is favorable. HB 562 increases the annual fee for a special Chesapeake Bay and coastal sport fishing boat license for non-resident applicants from $50 to $100. Move the bill.
Bill's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Delegate Jacobs?
I was having trouble hearing you right then. Did you say that the increase to out-of-state fisher persons was from $50 to $100? Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion on the bill? All in favor of HB 562, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed to HB 562? That's great. Delegate Naraki is opposed. Delegate Baker is opposed. Just Naraki and Baker. That's your competition, isn't it? HB 60, the bill passes. HB 601, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill, if it sounds familiar, that's because it is. HB 601, Street Racing and Exhibition Driving, Prohibited Acts, Enforcement and Penalties. This bill came out of subcommittee with one amendment. It strikes the affirmative defenses for violations that occur in a special event zone. Move the amendment.
Second.
Amendments have been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendments? Delegate Otto.
They are very
Satisfied with
happy.
these.
Yes, with this amendment.
Okay.
This is actually an Ocean City requested amendment.
All right.
Delegate Otto,
Thank
we're
you.
adopting. Yep. All in favor of the amendments, please signify by, I'm sorry, Delegate Lehman.
Yeah, I was just going to clarify, this is precisely what Ocean City was after when it said Bruce Mariano repeatedly said, do not mess with the Worcester County law. This is exactly what they were after, correct? With
Yes,
these-
but don't let it go to his head that we listened to
With
him.
with these provisions struck, and then there was one other change
Well,
on the,
I'm getting there.
okay, okay.
So on the amendments that came out of subcommittee, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? You're opposed to the amendments, Delegate Davis? Okay, Delegate Davis opposed to the amendments.
Mr. Chair?
Delegate Love.
So there's an additional amendment, based on what the Senate did. The Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee moved this bill with an additional amendment on page 3, line 21, changing the word skidding to accelerating. So in the definition, it would read the swerving or swaying of the motor vehicle from side to side while accelerating. I move the amendment to change skidding to accelerating to conform with what judicial proceedings passed.
Accelerate.
Amendment's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? And just to be clear, this amendment does not alter the Ocean City section of the bill.
That's not.
Okay, all in favor of this amendment, please signify by saying aye.
I
Anyone opposed? Okay, the amendment passes.
move the bill as amended.
Bill's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, roll call. I'm sorry, Delegate Long.
Thank you. Do we explain our votes now? Or make sure I may be wrong. I don't know.
No, do you want to explain your vote? Go ahead.
Thank you. I want to thank the bill sponsor for her hard work on this. It's an issue that really has affected us and of course across the state, but especially in Prince George's County, 301 South, different areas. And so I think this is very needed. And I'm just thankful again for all of the subcommittee's work and the bill sponsor. So thank you.
First, me, he'll take it back in 2025.
Terrific. Just to clarify, and I know I'm new here, but when I say any discussion on the bill, ask questions, make your arguments, explain your vote, and then we're just gonna vote. We don't need to explain our vote while we're voting. Does that make sense? Okay, roll call. $21-0, Kumbaya, bill passes. I'm sorry, this has an amendment, yes. Delegate, Vice Chair Boyce, Delegate Holmes, Delegate Love, Delegate Terrassa, Delegate Ruth, Delegate Addison, Delegate Ziegler, Delegate Foley, Delegate Guyton, Delegate Stewart, Delegate Stein. Read it back.
All right, I have Boyce, Holmes, Love, Terraza, Ruth, Addison, Ziegler, Foley, Guyton, Stewart, Stein.
Everybody good? Everybody good? All right, HB 705, Delegate Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 705 received a favorable recommendation from the committee. There are no amendments. The bill establishes additional requirements for virtual meetings that are held by a common ownership community. The bill requires that participants be provided a reasonable opportunity to be heard by all other participants in the meeting, participate as if the meeting were conducted in person. Also, the bill specifies that electronic meeting of the governing body of the COC, Common Ownership Community, must be held in accordance with existing applicable meeting requirements. There is no fiscal note on this bill, and this bill or a very similar version of it was passed in 2023 by 134-0, also in 2022 by 131-2. Move the bill, no amendments, Mr. Chair.
Bill's moving second. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, all in favor of HB 705, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone need to record in opposition? Okay, there were no amendments, so no pile on. HB 783, Delegate Holmes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 783 has no committee amendments. It passed favorably out of the committee. The bill prohibits a recorded covenant or restriction, a provision in a declaration or a provision in the bylaws or rules of homeowners associations only, ladies and gentlemen. Homeowners association from restricting or prohibiting long-term rentals, Mr. Chair. Long-term rentals means the leasing by a lot owner, a lot owner's property for a period of 6 months or more. And there are no amendments on this bill from the committee. Move 783, Mr. Chair.
Bill's moving second. Any discussion on the bill? Okay, House Bill 783, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Does anyone wish to be recorded in the negative? Delegate Naraki, Delegate Baker. 19-2, Delegate Silverde, bill passes. We have a number of withdrawals. I'm going to consider the vote on HB 870 to accept the withdrawal to be for all the bills unless.
We took 870 off.
Yep, we don't have 870, but HB 908 to be the all of the bills on the list. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, those bills are withdrawn. Any subcommittee announcements? Delegate Stewart.
Briefly, we normally have a land use and ethics subcommittee meeting at noon on Tuesdays. Just wanted to give you guys an early notice. So we're going to have it after the bill hearings, probably for the first and only time, hopefully this session, this coming Tuesday. So we're going to meet after the bill hearings in the afternoon or early evening, not at noon.
Okay. Thank you all for your hard work this week. Have a great weekend.